Welcome. This is All Minus One Quick Shots. Folks, today I'm going to talk about some things that we had questions on last night on the live show. That is the live show I do on a separate channel called The Ends Justify the Memes. And we had the great Elliot Holsom for as long as Elliot could survive, because he is a early to bed, early to rise type. In any case, we had some questions about, like, how could someone organize fasting in their schedule, working out, training martial arts? How do they balance these things? And my general advice is don't jump in, don't dive in head first. You have to seize the day, but you can't overwhelm yourself. So let's get into it a little bit. And the first thing I was thinking about this morning and trying to, get together some material, some things to talk about, take a few notes, of course, as I normally do. But this song from one of my favorite bands, Soundgarden, popped into my head, and that is The Day I Try to Live. And it's really what the song is about. He says, I woke the same as any other day, except for the voice inside my head, seize the day, pull the trigger, drop the blade, and watch the rolling heads. And over here, it gives a little explanation from the lead singer, the former late great Chris Cornell, as he seemed to have expired himself. 2 years ago now? In any case, it is about his desperation to get out of his own rut. And this quote here from him, let's see if I can get this pulled down properly. There we go. It's about trying to step out of being patterned and closed off and reclusive, which I've always had a problem with. It's about attempting to be normal and just go out and be around other people and hang out. And then it continues on. And this is part of this crisis of masculinity that folks, especially men, don't feel any connection. So again, where to start? How do you start to push your own boundaries? Well, start simple. And I'm going to give you something simple. I mentioned last night, do like push-ups, squats, do a little bit of exercise, 10, 15 minutes every day. Right here, I have pulled up from GQ the 7-minute total body workout. Now, is this going to make you super fit and awesome? No. But there have been studies on this. I have literature on this. I have books on this particular program. Particularly, I was looking for it, but couldn't quite find it because I have so many books. But essentially, the idea is that you do a basic workout routine to keep yourself in the shape for 7 minutes a day, every day. And it's in a little circuit. And it goes like this. You do a wall sit, push-ups, crunches, chair step-ups, squat, tricep dips, plank, high knees, lunges, push-ups with rotation, and alternating side planks, and that becomes a full body workout. And then it gets into some more advanced stuff. I would not recommend anyone starting off trying to do single-legged squats unless they are very, very strong already and well-balanced. And again, it just shows you some body weight variations to add in later on. But what is the point of this? Well, it is somewhere to start, man. It's 7 minutes of your day to get into better shape than you were yesterday. It's to make it easy. See, I'm a minimalist when it comes to these things. Yes, I get that many, many hours are needed to be put into the gym, but if it is so daunting of a task when you start, you will never start. You'll get paralysis by analysis. So go Google this, DuckDuckGo, whatever you use your Bings if you like. Hit 7-minute workout. Type it in. 7-minute workout. Total body workout. It's basic, guys. This isn't like expert advice. If I were going to train you personally, I would give you very specific drills. But as far as just getting into a routine and making it a habit, this is something to do. This is also something to do in the morning when you first wake up. That way there are no excuses. So maybe you're like me and you have really bad sleep inertia, and it's going to take you a few minutes to really wake up. It actually takes me about an hour, about 30 to 45 minutes to an hour max. And in that time, in that process, I'm like, oh, groggy, whatever. I make my coffee, I drink some water, and I go downstairs, get out of my bedroom, let the light slowly come into my eyes and allow my eyes to adjust. And then I turn on some news, I drink some coffee, or I look at things on my phone, generally news-oriented stuff, as I wake up before I start my day. I need that time. Some of you might be able to get up and go. But once I am sort of awake and whatever, then that would be the time to do this 7-minute workout, or to do some sort of, like I said yesterday, joint rotations, general mobility stuff. But again, lots of resources out there without you having to spend money. Here is one that you can use. Another thing that I recommend highly is the Wim Hof breathing method for various reasons. And we know that breathing is a very, very powerful tool. Now, I've done breath work for a very long time because I've done martial arts for a long time. But what I can tell you is in the Wim Hof method, what you are doing is you are actually putting yourself in a state of controlled hypoxia, where you have a reduced amount of oxygen, and actually you have a higher amount of carbon dioxide. And what you end up doing is you end up teaching your body how to deal with that. And as your body learns to deal with that, it will release adrenaline and will create an immune response within your body. This is all studied very, very well. Breath work has been a thing that has existed all throughout humanity. Of course, there's things like yoga. And by the way, folks, yoga is great if you are going to the right yoga teacher and instructor. There's some really bad yoga out there, but yoga is a really good mind-body discipline. And in my opinion, now you don't have to get on all the kooky stuff or believe in the spiritual aspects of it. But as far as moving your body and breathing and training your body, it's a pretty good tool. But in any case, Wim Hof will energize you. You need to do only 2 or 3 rounds, 3 or 4 rounds, 5 rounds maybe. You can do a lot more, but 2 to 3 rounds, you will feel pretty good afterwards. You will be very energized. I can promise you, you will have a buzz more or less. Your brain will be activated and turned on. And what you have done is because you've hit hypoxia, you've at the same time, or a little bit of a hypoxia, you at the same time are allowing your body to absorb a ton of oxygen as it comes back into your system. And again, there are lots of different breathwork systems out there. I encourage you to research it, as generally I don't like to give people very specific recommendations. Look, I'm not a doctor. I'm a guy that's been doing this stuff for a long time because I find it interesting and I find it helpful. And especially a guy like me who has, I have like my own physical issues. Like I don't sleep well. That's always been a thing with me. I can't sit still for very long. I have to move. We all have our strengths and deficiencies. And for me, this helps keep me centered. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I do Wim Hof all the time. I could be better about it. It ebb and flows in life. But again, breathing techniques, especially the Wim Hof technique, very, very good for you to start. Here's another thing. Get one of these. This is a screenshot directly from my phone. This is Nutrition Extract. There are other trackers. I like this one particularly. It's an app you can get on your phone. And what you do is you can put in your food. This is what I ate today for breakfast. Now, I didn't take the screenshot till not long before I started recording this, but this is a pretty standard breakfast for me. Now, this isn't what I always eat, but usually 3 eggs every morning, omelet style, either empty or I throw in there like steakums. Like the thin sliced steak. I'll throw that in there and some goat cheese and maybe some onions and mushrooms. This one particular day, today, I added some spicy pork sausage. So when I got up to drinking my coffee, I started making that, started making bacon. By the way, guys, if you want the best bacon possible, do it in the oven in a cast iron skillet. Eventually, I'll have a cooking channel eventually, and I'll show you guys how to make all kinds of awesome food. I actually have a channel set up for that, but I just have not done it yet. In any case, we have all the ingredients, which I don't usually eat pre-shredded cheese, but my wife bought some a few weeks ago, and it was in there, so I used it. And so these are estimations of about what I used. I used about a half a potato. I made some fried potatoes earlier in the week, bacon fried, made some bacon, and I took 2 slices and I cut it up and I threw it in there. You can see at the top here, it's 44 grams of protein, 17 carbs, 65 grams of fat, and that equals to be about this right here, which was about a 21% of my calories from protein. Protein isn't necessarily a calorie used in your body for energy, folks. That's not really what protein does. It's carbohydrates and fat, and I always prioritize fat. Fat has the most nutrients in it, and it also is a better fuel source for your body. It is a cleaner fuel source. For every carbohydrate that your body uses is burned in your system, you're releasing, I think, 4 times the free radicals, where you are not doing such a thing when you are burning ketones and fat. So do I eat carbohydrates? Yes, it's because I work out, but I usually have less than 100 grams a day, probably less than that. So there is that. Now, again, I'm not a dietitian. This is what works for me. You must go and explore, but I believe in eating high fat and in things like fasting and being slightly ketogenic. So here's a lovely picture. This is sausage, and that's 2 strips of bacon. That's about 3 ounces of sausage. I had to guesstimate that. What did I put on here? 2 ounces. Okay, yeah, it's about 2 or 3 ounces. And then we add in the potatoes, and they look a little burnt, but they're just nicely browned in that cheese. And then I put a little salsa on top for a little acidity to cut through all that fat. And man, that was good eats. Get a little roll up, get it on the plate. And there it is, guys. That was breakfast. And I didn't quite finish it. I had a bite or 2 left. And that's how I work, man. I eat till I'm satiated. I don't make myself eat more and then feel horrible later on. So I mentioned fasting. And one of the things you can do for fasting is go check out my video on fasting. It doesn't have a lot of views. My channel's still small though, right? I do this at least once a year. No, I do fast throughout the year. I fast overnight every night. In fact, I ate today around noon. That was my breakfast. I was up till about 1 a.m. last night. I got up at 9:30, or woke up at 9:30 this morning. So I don't eat right away when I first get up, usually 2 to 3 hours later. So I almost always go 12 hours on a fast. You go watch my video on this, you will see that I talk about this and this idea of time-restricted feeding. I talk about Dr. I think it's Sanchin Panda or Panda Sanchin. I always confuse it. But in any case, I talk about him and Dr. Rhonda Patrick, who talks about fasting a lot. Some other people you might want to check out, guys like Bart K, who is on YouTube, but I believe he does a lot of stuff elsewhere now because YouTube's always restricting stuff. Primal Edge Health, I really like Tristan over there. In fact, I would like to get him on my show sometime. Same with Bobby over on Bobby's Perspective. I'm working on seeing if I can get him on the live show. But Bobby's a really interesting story because he was a vegan who became basically a carnivore. In any case, he has a great YouTube channel, so you could check him out. There's a ton of information about fasting out there. Again, I'm not going to cover every little detail. I get into some of it and some resources in that video. In fact, I might have even linked them in the description here. Let's see what I have here. Dr. Sanchin Panda, The Science of Fasting, which is a documentary, Fasting, the Most Powerful Ancient Healing Method. What I've Learned channel. What I've Learned. Hey, that's a good one. And then also linked a couple guides there. So what I've learned is this really good channel on YouTube puts out a video about once a month or so. It's all very well documented and very well edited and voiced over. And basically this guy is explaining things that took me, I don't know, about 10 years to figure out with just reading and studies. And basically, he's a proponent, though, of eating a high-fat meat diet, fasting. He's very pro-salt, which I am as well. He gets into it. All of these things, talks about hormones and calories, sleep quality, all this stuff. There's a video on mouth breathers right there, which is a terrible thing for you to do, guys. Breathe through your nose. So go check him out. If you want a little bit more functional fitness, or you're kind of broken like me, I really like ATG, or the knees over toes guy, and I'm actually doing his system right now. I have a screwy hip that has impingement in the rear. It's the posterior capsule, kind of pinches there, whatever long injury I've had forever. And in the last couple years, my knees have been just terrible, to the point where a few years ago I had injured them. I couldn't really walk for about a month and a half, if that's any indication of how bad it was. So, you can go check out his stuff. I am currently doing his workout program, so I can sort of recommend. It is not necessarily strength training. It is tendon strength training primarily, which is important. Now, you are training the muscles, but it's more endurance, blood flow work. It does phase into, in his dense strength modality, which is here, it does phase into more strength training, and same with standards. But I think he's got a pretty good mindset on this, because it's get the tissues moving, get the mobility, work the anterior and posterior, that is front and back, and the medial and the lateral, that is the inside and the outside of the legs, as well as from joint to joint. And joint to joint theory is something that's in physical therapy, advanced physical therapy, where you are basically understanding that joints have two functions. One is mobility, and the other is stability. So generally, there is a stable joint above or below a mobile joint. So your knee is a very stable joint. It's a hinge. It only bends one way, right? And above that is your hip joint, which is hypermobile. And then your lower back is supposed to be stable. And then your upper back mobile. Your scapula are very stable, but then your humerus in that socket, right, ball and socket, very mobile, and so forth. And most of us, because of sitting and basically being unathletic or whatever, injuries, we have everything backwards. So joint-to-joint theory is very important. You can look at Greg Cook's stuff for that, the functional movement screen, something I've been aware of and involved in for many years through my kettlebell training back in the day. In any case, there's just a lot of stuff out there. But as far as Ben Patrick here, knees over toes guy, he makes it very simple. It's something that is repeatable. He has used for a long time, and his mentor was Charles Poliquin. Now, I know there are a lot of people that think Charles Poliquin is some snake oil salesman, but I am here to tell you he is not, and he has trained many Olympic athletes and those who think otherwise. And I've argued this before with fitness models and whatever. I'm like, yeah, you're not getting it. You're not getting, because certain people think that everything has to have a study to it. And Ben Patrick talks about this. There isn't a study on everything out there for fitness. Most of the studying is in the lab of the gym, which is why you need to seek good coaches. Speaking of which, if you want to continue to get very advanced, go check out Emmett Lewis. Now, he has a handstand course. Emmett is a guy who worked as a circus acrobat. He went to circus school, literally. Very good stuff on flexibility. His stuff is brutal, though. It will make you sore for sure. Another guy to check out is Kit Laughlin. They're buddies, but they have different approaches. Kit has his videos online. He's got lots of free material. He's got some pretty good podcasts. Guy's been an athlete his whole life. He teaches people how to get more flexible, and guys, flexibility is very important. But going back to Ben Patrick, part of his method is basically strength flexibility training, and this is important. You get two birds with one stone. So here we have Elliot Hulse with this gentleman, Troy Casey, and I like this guy. It's like a hippie dude who does all this breath work stuff and whatever else. You should go check out this video. This is on Elliot's page, but it says breathing techniques to release DMT. Now, we don't know if that's necessarily the case or not, but it will deprive your brain of oxygen, which may make you go into a little bit of a hallucinogenic state. Don't be concerned about that so much. That's not really the point of this. The point of it is to have control over your own body. And if you wish to seize the day, as I talked about back here, you want to get control of your body. So Do I want you to do all this stuff overnight? No, but slowly implement it. And like I said, start back here. Do your 7-minute total body workout. Do the Wim Hof method. Start getting your diet and nutrition on point. Go do some studying and learning. Go check out my video on fasting and go look at what I've learned, man. You could spend a couple days watching this stuff and breaking it down, and it's great. It's great material. Ben Patrick stuff, right now there's like a discount code. You can get into the AGT system for like $20. It jumps up to like $50 a month. For me, it's like pay the initial, and then I've been training forever. I know what he's talking about. I can do it. I don't need the coaches there to help me. But guys, it depends on your goals, but it doesn't mean you have to go to the gym either. You can pay that $50 a month. You will have a coach there. It's how a system works. It's pretty good. Most online coaching does not work that way. So you might think, well, what about running? Well, running is a very important human movement, and it is very fundamental to fitness. I'm not a fan of running. I'd rather do kettlebell swings or jump rope. It's a lot quicker. I get a lot more of a workout, or I would rather sprint or go for a long walk or a hump, as we call it in the Marine Corps, basically a pack march, hiking. Endurance can be approached in various different ways. My biggest problem with running is you got to do it with good form or you end up hurting yourself. It's very jolting. But here, back in the day, some years ago, Tim Ferriss released a book called The 4-Hour Workout, or 4-Hour Fitness, or something like that. 4-Hour Body, that's what it was, 4-Hour Body. And Barry Ross was talked about in here, and he has a very minimalistic method to teach people how to run and run faster. And it's just a very minimalistic strength training. There's walking and there's running in it. And so you can go check it out. This is an article, Tips for Sprinting from the 4-Hour Body and Tim Ferriss. I don't know about the efficacy of these techniques, but Barry Ross's coaching and his students, his athletes, prove the efficacy of it and that they improve their times. And so this goes over that. And if you would like, you can go find Barry Ross's book, Underground Secrets to Faster Running, if that is a priority for you. Now, it's about $40 brand new and a little bit cheaper used. Also, for minimalist training, I highly recommend, I've had this book for, almost 20 years now, Power to the People, Russian Strength Training Secrets for Every American. So I had kettlebells back in 2002 when I was in the Marine Corps, and this was one of the, I think this was the second book I got of Pavel's. I think the first one was the original Russian Kettlebell Challenge. And this gives you some really good basics on how to strength train minimalistically without getting overly sore. Again, consistency, folks. Consistency before intensity. Do not be too intense. You will quit. Firas Zahabi talked about this to Joe Rogan on his podcast. It's much of Pavel's strength training system, and I'm an advocate of it because I know, especially us guys, how we get carried away with ourselves. It's very likely to happen. So, it's $17, but you can get a Kindle edition of this book for about $7, if I'm not mistaken. Also, I was asked about martial arts. Now, I have to shill because this is one of my mentors. This is the Complete Book of Combat Systema. So I have this right back here. And you can't really get this book anymore or easily. Right here on Amazon, it's one of the new copies is listed from $245. Well, why is that? Well, because it was printed through Paladin Press. Here on A Books, it is anywhere between $300 and $150. But you don't need to get the actual printed book because you can go to Kevin Sikor's website, kevinsikors.com, and purchase this book for $20 via PDF. And of course, if you would like, you can print it out yourself. And what is this book? Well, this is kind of his system, and it gives you drills and it gives you basics, and it's a book. I get it. But you will get some basic concepts of martial arts. Do you need more? Absolutely. Do you need to train with folks? Absolutely. Go get into a jiu-jitsu school or something, or find someone who knows how to do some jujitsu like a blue belt and like a friend, make friends with him and roll on your own free time. Teach, learn, do. Be more than someone sitting around, as I was saying yesterday, playing video games. So all these videos behind me, now these are like entertainment, old videos I've had forever, but all these over here, these are all like martial arts videos. Like I got stuff from Kevin, I got stuff from Mark Hatmaker, I got Eddie Bravo stuff, I got Damian Maya stuff, I have Roy Mellison, all kinds of guys out there. Look, watching a video, unless you know what you're doing, isn't probably going to give you a great amount of skill or talent. But watching a video and working through the techniques, as boring as they may be with a friend, is a way to improve yourself and to be cheap. So, guys, again, we all need to seize the day. And, it seems hard to start, to get moving. It seems hard to get active when you're not doing anything. But I'm telling you, the biggest step is just doing, just getting up and doing it. Start with, like I said, that 7-minute workout. Go do some Wim Hof breathing. Get your diet in order. Learn to fast. Don't eat like every hour of the day. I ate like 800 calories for breakfast this morning, almost 900 calories. Guess what? I'm not going to eat again until like 6, 7, 8 o'clock tonight. I don't need to. I won't need to, right? So get all of that straight, folks. In any case, I hope that is helpful. If you all want more specific ways, you can contact me. I will, as I am rehabbing myself, I will start doing training again here out of my home, private personal training, martial arts, firearms, those kind of things. I'm not doing it because I want to encourage people to go out and get in fights, of course, but because I just want people to have the skills and be protected, and also that bonding and building up men. And it's very important because male leadership is lacking in our society, which is why our society has gone awry. And part of male leadership is saying, I'm just going to do it. You need to seize the day, quit making excuses, and get off your butt. And it's all about baby steps. Have you guys ever seen, what is his name? David Goggins? That guy is insane. He went from being an obese person to a Navy SEAL out of sheer willpower. And go check him out if you want to look at like some insanely motivated thinking, because that dude willed himself from being a obese, crippled person to a Navy SEAL, which is a high-level athlete, by the way, folks. You have to be very athletic to be in any sort of special operations. So, guys, that's all I have for today. But remember, seize the day, every day. Make it your day. Own the world. Make it your world, and stop making yourself a slave to this world. With all that said, this has been All Minus One Quick Shots, and I wish you all well.